Hello everybody, can you hear me? I'm very happy to have you all online, and today we are having an interesting discussion about women leadership. Alright? Okay, so let's get starting. Okay? Before we start, I would like to give you a small introduction about myself. I am Sophia Jogi, and I am a mid-career coach who work with women to help them find their sovereignty and find a breakthrough in their career. Okay, so having said that, so I would like to know something about you as well. So could you give me a small introduction about yourself, please? Okay. Keep the comments coming on, and I'm happy to have you all here. You could have been doing something else on a Friday evening at this time, but you have spent your time and energy to be with me, and I'm very grateful for that. Okay, so today our topic is to know what are the 3 top behaviors of women that is affecting their success. Okay, so how many of you are into women leadership? Right? So how many of you really want to know what is that is stopping you from being a leader or recognizing you as a leader? All right, great. So keep the comments coming. That keeps the whole environment very much cheered up. Okay. Yep. There you go. Thank you. All right. So shall we go ahead with our presentation? Okay. Now, let me start with the first behavior. That is pleasing others. Okay. Now, as women, we always tend to have this habit of pleasing others, and I think that is something which we really need to work on. Okay, and why I do say this is because as women we have this tendency of getting an acknowledgement or recognition from somebody, and to recognize that we have done a good job, and that always happens in an environment, at domestic environment as well as in your corporate environment, on your workplace. Okay, so why do women do that? Well, that's how women are, aren't we? So let's not say why is it so, but we do have the habit of expecting somebody to recognize us, and that happens mostly by pleasing others. We tend to think that if we please somebody and they are able to see that we are doing something valuable for them, then we are happy, we feel successful, and that feel of successful generally is an hindrance for us to grow towards being a leader. Okay, that is a very negative point about a leader who's I'll tell you a negative point for a person to step up as a leader. Okay, so let's keep that in mind, and let's quickly get into next situation, which is over analysis. Okay, now why I say over analysis is a problem is because, let's say, this over analysis system comes from a stage where we women tend to analyze much better. Okay, it's a compliment for ourselves. But when it becomes over analytic, we tend to think about situations which we are not really, it's not really necessary to keep thinking about those aspects. For example, do you know these cattles? They generally chew on things again. That what they eat is the grass, right? So they re-chew their food again, and that is called ruminate. Okay, so when you ruminate, which means you are re-chewing it to get protein from it. All right, but we are women, not cattles. Okay. So when we say we are women, not cattle, which means we still ruminate on the information that we have already delivered. Okay, that means, let's say you have delivered some statement to somebody else. Okay, you don't know how that landed on them. You're just so obsessive about thinking what happened to it, whether that landed properly, whether the person on the other side took it in the right sense, and what would happen after that. This could happen in a situation. Let me give you an example. You just met your boss for the first time. Okay, maybe your CEO or somebody, while you're walking on the floor. You just met him for the first time, and he was just casually asking you, okay, so who are you, what do you work on, and how are you doing? You got so overexcited and you said, oh, my name is so and so. I have been working on XYZ project and I have finished 90%. I have 10% to finish and I work with so and so team. Okay? This is all you said. And he's like, and he left. Now, after he left, you came out of that excitement and shock, and then you're like, oh my God, what did I say? And is it okay? Did he really get what I meant? What does that all mean? You have already delivered your statement, right? And the gave you a question mark as to how did that land? Am I supposed to be telling something else? Did I miss out on something? Should I not tell this information to him? And this kind of information just goes on and on within your mind, and it's not going to do anything good for you or for the company. All right? And when you show those attitudes in your workplace, the leadership quality of you is decremented. Okay, if you think about it, if you see somebody who is not very thinking about the next step and overthinking about what has happened, you may not want to have them as your leader, right? So the same thing applies. This happens mostly with women because we tend to analyze more, because we don't want to make mistakes. That's a plus point. Okay, now having said that, let's get into our next point, which is related to it and is being judgmental. Now, why judgmental is a behavior which we have to change. Let's look at it. Okay, being judgmental is not wrong. All right, being judgmental is never wrong, because judgmental characteristics is the one which is keeping you alive. Every attitude that you show towards things that are happening around you is what you're judging and relating yourself to. But when it comes to judging yourself for making a mistake or taking a decision which did not work out well, that's not going to help you in any way. Well, introspection is good, okay, but let's look at this. You went ahead, took a decision for you or for your team, and somehow it ended up as a failure. Okay, you took a hard time on yourself and you kept telling, hey, you know what, I didn't do it right, I have been doing something nasty, I'm not fit for this job, maybe somebody else will come and snatch away my position. Why? You did what you had to do, it failed. But why do you take it so hard on yourself? Don't be too judgmental. See, being more over judgmental about yourself will only prolong the pace of success. Okay, the time generally women take to come out of this over judgmental attitude on yourself, on oneself, and take a new step forward is a little longer. Okay, this is all these three behaviors what I discussed could happen with a men also, but it is mostly seen with women in many occasions. Now this is not something which I have completely analyzed all the time. This is being said by the leaders, the leadership thinkers who have analyzed many thousands of women out there, and they have seen that these characteristics or the attributes could be something which are the tumbling blocks for them to proceed towards their success and become leaders. Okay, so if we keep an eye on these small attributes, we could easily become leaders, and people will start looking at you as leaders. Now let's say you did something and it really went bad, and you took very hard on yourself. Okay, and you took a long time to come back, and then you started over again. What did you lose? You only lost time, right? So is that really necessary for you to lose that time and realize later that it was not worth it? Think about it. All right, so let's see what we could do instead to get that thing going. Okay, now the action for being judgmental is to say, okay, let's make a banner, okay, which says, oh well, nobody's perfect. Now if you make this banner and put it where you could see, and if you put it in a place where others can also see, the chances are that people will come to you with more relaxed pace. They know that you're not expecting perfection, nor can you take it hard on yourself. Let's say something went wrong, when you cross, you just see this board and it will give you a little bit of an ease base. Okay, now that also does not mean that you take wrong decisions all the time. No, when things go wrong, when things don't always go right, 100%, nobody's perfect. Okay, nobody's perfect. That's exactly what you're writing on your board. And when you know that, the moment you feel you have done something wrong, you will forgive yourself much easily, and that will help you become more progressive than thinking about your failure and losing time. Right? Does it make sense? All right, give me some kudos, guys. I want to see some comments coming in, and let's see. Okay, I see Joy Gigs. Hi. I see Prema, Asha. Hey, good evening everybody. Hi, Murthy. Mama. Okay, my uncle is there. Okay, thank you, uncle, for joining us. Okay, so let's get to the next point where where we have now looked into how we should just overcome our judgmental attitude. Okay, now the next point I would like to discuss is to see what are the things that you could rather do. Okay, now we have seen what are the behaviors that could be a hindering points, but let's see what are the things that you could rather do to help you move forward. Okay, now let's see, give me a second. Now how many of you are into leadership roles? How many of you are into leadership roles? Can you please type in here? Right? How many of you are into leadership roles? Well, to say everybody, all of us are anyhow doing some sort of a leadership activity in our life, whether it is in the corporate or at a domestic place, right? So there's no point telling I'm not into a corporate role or I'm not really stepping and stuff like that. So let's look at it in that sense, and we are all into the leadership roles, right? So things that you could do which really could help you. Let's see. So the first point is focus on people who you care. What does that really mean? Okay, in the sense, your customer selection is very important. Wherever you are, you see who you are talking to. Okay, value your time. have that sense that your time is also valuable. Okay, we tend to have this attribute to give more of ourselves. In that sense, we don't, sometimes we miss out that our time is very valuable as well. Now, either if it's not working, okay, let's say you have done something, it's not working, you have to either let it go or let them go. Now, in the domestic situation, we can't let them go, so what we have to do is to let it go. Okay. But in the corporate, if you are trying to do certain things out of your scope, or you've been trying to change something and you see it's completely not going to work out, you just have to let it go. Or if somebody is not cooperating with what you are trying to do, you may have to let them go. Does that make sense? Cool. Now, let's see here. How many of you have tried this thing is very interesting. How many of you have tried changing somebody at home? Maybe your spouse, maybe your parents, maybe your children. You have been telling something every time and you expected them to change. Okay? Give me some ideas, guys. I mean, have you tried changing somebody and I have felt, oh, it's really not working and I have to do something about it. Okay? So, I hope everybody, all of us would have gone through that phase where we have been trying to change somebody's characteristics or something about them, and then it's not working at all. You have been telling over how many years have you tried? How many months have you tried? It's not worked, right? So, in that case, just have to let them be, they are. Don't take it on yourself and think, oh, it's not working, I've been trying, it's not working. Does not help you. Okay? So just keep focus on people who really care. And there is a tendency for women to be, it's called the desire to save people. Okay? How many of you have felt that? This is like I said, I'm going to save the whole world and I'm the one person who is going to change everything and change the whole world, right? So let's not get too much into that and try to think what we could do, and let's not waste time on people who don't value your time as well. Okay, so what we would do here is, okay, so which means you have to let them go. And the second thing that you may want to do is, if they do not care, do not waste your time. So try investing your time instead on people who do care. Okay, make sure that you might be spending some time with somebody, but there is somebody else who's waiting for that help and you are not recognizing that. So just make a point that you spend valuable time with people who are looking for values from you. Okay, so that's where people need, and that's where you need to be. Okay, great. The next thing you could do is to feed forward. Guys, when we say feed forward, let me take a small look at what our people have to say here. Okay, all right. Okay, Asha says spouse. yes. Oh, nothing to hide. I have also tried many things with my spouse. My spouse has tried many things with me. Certain things work, certain things don't. It's just part of life, right? So that's fine. All right, fine. Now the next thing you could do is feed forward, right? So feed forward actually means, now in our office we would have taken a feedback, like a 360-degree feedback, right? That's normal. So where you take feedback from people who report to you, whom you report to, the colleagues that work with you, and even people who don't work with you. So that's essentially called a 360-degree feedback, where you take feedback from everybody. Now, how many of you found that the 360-degree feedback helped you? To some extent. They would have said, based upon your past behaviors, people would have come and told you, okay, this is something which is, she's good, she's not good, she's been friendly, she's not friendly. stuff like that. Guys, I want you to stop taking feedbacks. Well, feedbacks is a part and parcel of your professional process, but personally, please take feed forwards. In the sense, you go to the person, people whom you care, okay, whom you want to work with, who you know, there's no choice, you have to work with them, right? So you go take a feed forward from these people, ask them, hey, you know what, things might in the past, whatever has been done is done, things cannot be changed. Maybe you had a rough relationship or rough project, which went very bad between you guys in the project or something like that. You just want to know how things could get better. Well, you can't keep the roughness in the corporate environment, right? So you just have to get over it. So take feed forward, tell them, hey guys, you know what, things in the past may not have worked well, and I want to see what I can change in myself so that we can bring the positive change. You know, I can take the very honest feedback from you so that I can implement it on myself and see how I can be more valuable to the team. Okay, and be very honest, just be open, talk to them. And what happens in that case is people generally tend to give you a very good feedback. Okay, and when they give you a feedback, shut up, listen, take notes, and do not comment back. Don't give justification at that point saying, hey, you know what, I did that because of so and so. No, you're just going to listen to them, take notes, and thank them. Do not react, just come back. Once you come back with the feed forward, you might have this bunch of feed forwards from multiple people that you're taking. You cannot implement all of them, but what you could actually do is to look into those points which if you implement immediately, it could show some result. Okay, some evident result that people could see immediately if you take those steps. And if you take those steps, and if people are seeing that you are making a change, they'll be much more open to give you feedbacks. Let me say free forwards. Okay, and you go back to them as a revising, a resurvey. So you go to them, say them, hey, you know what, we had this survey like 2 to 4 months back. I would like to know what else can we do to make it much better. You know, you be very honest with them, talk to them very casually. This time around, when you go for a resurvey, they'll be even more open to you. Does that make sense? It will even improve your relationships. Good? Great. So now that you have taken the feed forward from people, let's see what we have next. Ooh, now we took the feed forward, and then we are here to make a positive difference. Now, what do you mean by doing a positive difference is there are a lot of leadership thoughts out there. Okay, our mission as leaders is not to prove we are smart or right. We are here to make a positive difference. This very mission, if we have in our mind, we will not try to prove our point. Rather, when we do something, we will see if it is really going to be effective in a larger sense. Instead of telling, oh, okay, what I said, I want to prove that what I said is true. Okay? Now, as women, we are not here telling that, I'm smart or right. Mostly that's not the problem with women that's being seen. This is being said by, thought leaders. This exact statement is said by Peter Drucker, and while he says this, he actually means that the moment you want to take a decision, or when you have delivered something, just think about it. Is it really going to make sense? If you have done something wrong, accept it, because on an overall sense, you are going to make a positive. You're here to make a positive difference, and you're not here to prove your point. All right, it's not a debate session. We are here as leaders. All right, so as leaders, we are here to make a positive difference. That means, let's say, as a woman, most of the time, it's not about proving the point. Mostly what happens is, whenever a woman delivers a statement, she tries to tell everybody that the statement that I made is right. Whether the statement got delivered is right. It's, in a sense, it's slightly different, but in a sense, it's the same thing. Okay? one thing that you need to understand is that every decision maker is having the power to make that decision. Every decision maker has the power to make that decision. So when you have made the decision and an outcome has come, take responsibility of it, and you should know that you should be in peace. You should be at peace with your decision, because if you yourself are not at peace with your decision, it actually means that you have not taken the right decision. You're expecting somebody to come and correct those decisions for you. So step up, become the real leader that you are. Okay? Now, the next thing that happens is, if you are an influence, if you are, let's say, if you were to influence a person who is making the decision, okay, and you want to make a positive difference by influencing that person, you consider that person who is taking the decision as the customer and yourself as the salesperson. Okay, so the person who is actually taking pointers from you to make a decision is waiting for you to convince him or her to come to a conclusion. Okay, it's in the shop, right? You're going to a shop, you see multiple things, you don't know what to decide. The salesperson is actually helping you make that decision. If you look at a salesperson that way, I think you'll start loving sales, right? Okay, so when you see that way, you are a person who is trying to influence somebody to make that decision. Now, why that is very important is because you are here to make a change, right? That's the first point that we saw. Your mission here as leader is to make a positive difference. So when you make a sale and you expect it to be sold, right? That's not going to happen. Every sale does not end up in sales. But it's your responsibility to pitch that. And don't think about whether it's being sold. If it is sold, it is sold. If it is not, it's not. Make sense? Don't take it too hard on yourself, but just do what you had to do. Cool. Now, most of the time, what we have seen is, I'll go to the next one. So most of the time what we have seen is, as leaders, we have the hesitancy of self-promotion. In women, there is a hesitancy of self-promotion. Now, why that self-promotion hesitancy is there is because we might think that, okay, somebody should recognize the work that I have done. I have done so much good work. Somebody should have recognized me for what I have done and should have taken my opinion. No, it's your responsibility, because let's say you wanted to make that influence, right? You wanted to create that positive influence. So it's your responsibility to put this point across, promote yourself to your whoever is supposed to promote you to that position where you could make the decision, to tell them that, hey, you know what, if you promote me to this position, I'm here to make this difference through this, and it's very important for you to promote me so that I can do this things, and the company will grow. So who is stopping your growth? Who is stopping your growth? Right? Who is stopping your growth? Ourselves. Who is hindering our growth? Ourselves. So why do we think about somebody just not supporting you or not recognizing you? Don't get into those things. Alright? So never get into those aspects where people are talking about, don't get into the thought that people are not looking at you as a leader. People are not promoting you as a leader. Step up. Prove it. Sell yourself. Tell them that you are worth it. You are here to make a positive difference. Sell it to them. Be a salesperson. If you don't sell yourself as a leader, who else will? Because as a leader, you should not be depending on somebody else. That's point one. So, promote yourself like no one else can. Alright? Now, at this point, I would like to tell you something. If only you do things others don't do, you will be recognized as one among, you will not be one among the herd, but you will be heard. Okay? Does it make sense? Cool. So, let's see, Let me see the comments now. How many of you are enjoying the session? Just give me some hello, hi. Give me hooray, yahoo. Okay, I love to see your comments. Please put in some comments. Yeah, you're enjoying it? Cool. All right. So that brings us to the end of our session. And before we end, I would like to know if you have any questions to ask. Just keen, I'll be able to answer. And in the meantime, I would like to just revise what we went through. So, action points, there are 3 major behaviors. One is pleasing others, over-analysis, and being judgmental. And the 3 things that you could do, which are the takeaways of today's session, are focus on energy where you could yield more, feed forward, and be your own salesperson. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, cool. So I'm here to take some questions, guys. If you are having some questions, please pop in with your questions. All right, thank you, Rohini. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. Yes. Yep. All right. Okay, so the next one, before we leave, if you don't have any questions, thank you everybody for joining, making this session a wonderful session. I loved having you all here. Next Friday, I'm again going live with another interesting topic, but that will be in the evening. I will update you guys through other channels about the timing, but it will be on a Friday. Okay, until then, this is Sophia Jogi signing off. Bye-bye.